What do you say, everybody? With Trey Yanity, I'm Mick Gillispie. We're freezing cold out here right next to Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's time for the post-game show here on BamaInsider. And look, as you hang out with us, don't forget to like and subscribe on a chilly night. But I guess it's a final now, 20-14. I got to give LSU a lot of credit, Trey. I mean, they came in here and they played a heck of a ball game.
You know, this looked like Alabama LSU for maybe 2009, 2010, 11. This didn't look like the game we expected to see in 2021. This LSU team has had a lot of crazy storylines this season, but we've seen them get it together a few instances this season. Obviously, tonight they came out, got out to that early lead, looked really good on defense in that first quarter, really the whole first half, and just put Alabama in a tough spot. Obviously, Alabama's offensive line super affected by the Darian Dalcourt injury early in the game. You know, Chris Owens having a bit more of a difficult time there. And Bryce Young, well, you know, he responded to it well. The offense as a whole, you know, really struggled to get the rhythm going. We look at the final stats here. Alabama had six rushing yards on the game in a game where we talked about Alabama needing to get the run going early and establishing their offense with the run. They didn't do that at all tonight. They win the game. It's a final. Alabama now, you know, moves to 8-1 on the season and well within playoff contention, but a scare here. And, you know, moments ago we thought they might be officially eliminated, but, you know, excited to get the calls tonight, excited to talk about it.
We're going to take your calls. The phone line is open, and I know you guys are already starting to call in. We're going to get to you here in a minute. The phone number is 205-850-0883. Let me remind you that we are on the sky deck at Westgate Luxury Condominium, just 200 feet away from Bryant-Denny Stadium. And you're looking at the people as they leave the stadium, Alabama with the victory, but not the kind of win that we thought. Alabama with absolutely no run game in this contest. They made some plays on defense when they needed to, but really sloppy effort. I'd say, I don't know, if I was grading, it's like a C- today.
Yeah, I think that's super fair. And, you know, you look at this defense, there's really some high points in this game. You know, you look at Will Anderson again tonight, continuing this unbelievable effort with his season. You know, we got some fans in here talking about some other players as well. Name mentioned a minute ago. I want to highlight DeMarco Poole, our guy jumping in with us tonight. But, you know, overall, this defense at times looked really, really good tonight. But on the offensive side, you just saw so many holes and so many times where they couldn't get a rhythm and so many failed third down conversions. And thankfully, you know, there's really strong leadership on this team now. When they lost Texas A&M, we were still kind of wondering about that. Bryce Young was the leader on this offense. He rallied this team in those worrisome moments. And on defense, Will Anderson kept this team alive. If you want to, you know, maybe look at the bright side of things, in another situation where Alabama had to stand up on defense, they did that. We saw it at Florida in a big-time situation at the end of the game. They did it again tonight. This is a game that Alabama, I thought, would take really personally after what we saw in 2019, the whole locker room stuff. So I'm a little bit worried that they didn't come out with more of a aggressive, energetic mentality at night at home. But, you know, you won the game. It was a cold night. Things were a little bit different, and, you know, the final score reflects that.
Yep, no doubt about it. All right, let's get to the phones. And, guys, as you call in, make your point, and then we're going to get to someone else because I know there's a lot of you that want to talk here. Before we bring on Nick Saban, we'll have the Nick Saban press conference. We'll hear what Coach has to say about this game. I'm interested in what he's going to say. I'm sure he's going to be upbeat. He's going to talk about the fact that the team won the football game. He wants to keep this team positive. This team definitely has some weaknesses, but they're still, you know, coming into this game number 2 in the college football playoff rankings, and they've only lost once.
Yeah.
So it's look, there were a lot of teams around the country that were upset today, including Michigan State, right? Do you think they would like to have a 6-point win? Yes. So, I mean, you still got to win, and the bottom line is that Alabama won the football game. All right, let's go to the phones and get you guys on and start talking about this game. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Mick, it's Quan calling in from New Orleans, my man.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, man, how you and Trey doing tonight, man?
Look, we're cold, but we're glad that they won. And then you live down in New Orleans. Can you imagine what would have happened, Quan, had this not turned out the way that it just did?
I'm sitting in the house right now with 2 LSU fans looking at me all game, man.
Well, at least they can look at you with a smile on your face. Maybe you ought to smoke a cigar with them, right? Hey, look, the funny thing about this, Quan, is that those guys can feel good about the way that game went because they played way above their skill level right now with where this program is, and Alabama can take the fact that they won the football game and run with that. I mean, there's still a lot for the college football playoff.
Oh, yeah. And real quick, Mick, I know they got a lot of callers, man. I just want to hit home on, we call in. We got Kevin from Dallas. We got Shine from Huntsville. They all American callers, and I like to listen to them because they're straight shooters, man. And I'm going to call in tonight and be a straight shooter, man. Bill O'Brien got to go, man. He's got to go, man. His offense is looking too predictable. It's looking more like him in the NFL than it is in college right now. Coach Saban he always stresses with the incoming coordinators that they have to adjust to our offense and not bring their offense. Well, it looks like he didn't brought his offense in. I see no sign of our offense from last year with Steve Sarkisian. I don't see no explosiveness. I don't see no disguises. We just look too predictable, Nick. We look too predictable. We defenses and defensive coordinators, it's like they know what we're going to do, man. And it looks more like NFL to me. Like, in the NFL, it's pretty much defenses know what offense is going to run, but you got to, the offense got to outplay the defense. Well, it looks like that now with us. It looks like every defense we play, they know what Bill O'Brien is about to call. So it just looks too predictable, man. And it's just 3 and outs tonight. I mean, this game was if Stingley and Eli Ricks and LSU had all their people, man, we very well could have lost this game. Man. We could have lost it without them. But I'm thinking if LSU had all their players, we would have lost this game. It's just a shame that our offense looks the way it looks. We got all these playmakers, and it's like he calls the same thing. 2nd and 8, He won't even run the ball. Then on 3rd and 2, he's still throwing the ball. I thought we learned our lesson from that from Texas A&M. It's just I don't know, Nick. What's your observation of it, Nick? Because I just feel like Bill O'Brien is he's too predictable, man. I don't think we're going where we're trying to go with him and his play call.
Look, I'm not going to disagree with the fact that we just don't look like we looked last year. This looks like an NFL offense, but it's in college, and we play a different game down here. I mean, like you got to be more wide open. You got to get people in space. You got to try to figure out where you can get a mismatch, and I don't feel like we do a lot of that either. And I don't know enough to know, is it the offensive line? I'm not impressed with the run game. Obviously, they had just a hard game today, right? But I mean, I don't think Bill O'Brien will be back next year anyway. I think he'll end up being a head coach somewhere. But you know what? It might be time to look at some of these other young coordinators that know that type of offense instead of bringing someone that, that's kind of going back a step back. I mean, the pattern is that he's not going to be here next year anyway. I mean, the pattern is that he's going to break out and he'll go somewhere else and coach. We won the game, and that's great. But you're right. I mean, I feel like the weapons that we do have, we never see them, and we haven't developed one freshman wide receiver yet. That makes no sense to me.
Besides Jamison Williams on the big play, I mean, it just looked like everything predictable. To Coach Saban credit, I just watched his interview on the field with ESPN. He did just say that the offense was stale, that, we had too many 3 and outs tonight. I mean, and to me, that all goes back to Bill O'Brien. I mean, it's just his play calling is too predictable. It's like we're looking at the Houston Texans all over, or the New England Patriots when he was there. We just got a mobile quarterback, and the offensive line was, it's just, I don't know, Nick. It's just frustrating. I mean, it's a win, but
yeah,
this game could have got ugly. We could have been easily 7-2 tonight.
Yeah, it could have. And you look at this game and games past to kind of add on to what you're saying there. I think in certain systems and certain offenses, you see where teams are limited with maybe just one great receiver, great running back, great quarterback. The thing about Alabama this year, there's so many different weapons that they can turn to. And I think that's what makes this so frustrating right now, is the fact that Alabama can turn to so many different freshman receivers and 2 great tight ends and, a really nice run game. And it's been stale. I think stale was a good word you put there. Like I said earlier, they had 6 rushing yards tonight. This is a game where Alabama needed to establish with the run. You can can find consistency in your offense if, you take advantage of your skill players the right way. And I think Brian Robinson could have been the game breaker tonight, and he just wasn't. And some of that is because of scheming. Some of that's because of the offensive line. But overall, you're right. It's stale. I think that was a great word.
Yeah. So I just wanted to call in with that, guys. I don't want to hold y'all too long. I know everybody wants to call in, vent their frustration tonight, even though we got a win. But it's still hard.
It doesn't feel like a win.
Yeah.
It's a win, but it just it doesn't feel like one. I was ready. I picked the score to be 60-7.
Right.
Oops, I was a little off.
Mick, I'm here in New Orleans. I'm telling my wife and my son, this is a 52-10 game. And they looking at me all game like, what are you talking about? You barely lucky y'all got out of here.
Well, look, yeah, I know. And tell your wife and your son that I even had it worse than you did. I thought that, look, how many times have I played that Ed Orgeron video?
Oh, my goodness.
Kyle took it off the site. I can't even play it anymore. It's probably because I kept playing it so much. Hey,
man. He just did a mini celebration.
I know. You lost.
He just did a mini celebration.
I know. It's probably good that he's retiring, but I saw him doing that walking off the field. I thought, you lost, man.
Unbelievable.
I mean, like, you lost. Like, hey, you lost. I don't know, but they played a good game. I don't know that I would have walked off the field holding my hands in the air like.
But give him credit. The fake punt, he was getting a little trickery in the game tonight. So
a lot of things, right?
Just a crazy game all the way around. But yeah, and like the caller said just a minute ago too, you talk about this LSU team. Let's say they have all their guys on defense, and on offense they have Keyshawn Boutte and some of their weapons. This might have looked a lot different. So Alabama needed some things to go right, but it would have. It certainly would have.
Hey, great call, Quan. We appreciate it, man. Let's do it again. We're going to be back on tomorrow night.
Y'all have a good one, bro.
You too. We'll be back on tomorrow night. Roll Tide. And then we'll obviously after the game next week against New Mexico. All right, who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, it's Demetrius from North Carolina.
Demetrius, what's up, man? Roll Tide.
Man, Roll Tide, man. I don't even know what to say. This might be the first time I ever called into the show and said, Bill Brown tenure at Alabama. Hey, man, come on, man. Come on. That's the only thing I can say is come on. All game long, I'm like, come on, man. 2 weeks off from this, the best we can come out here with.
Yeah.
That's
2
a good
weeks.
point.
No. I mean, it was generic like my insurance company. Forced me to get every time I go fill a prescription.
Right.
I mean, this is the best we can do with all this talent.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's like we're hustling backwards.
Yeah, it's like the cereal I ate growing up. And I didn't have, we didn't have much money when I was a kid.
The old school Vitamin King cereal.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Oh, my.
Like chocolate O's.
We got the win, but I still trust me. I still trust Coach Nick Saban. Defense, they done the serviceable job. But, hey, come on, man. It got to be better game planning. And this is a NFL caliber coach stepping back to college. It ought to be something new that should have been ran this year by so far. I mean, I just got to say, roll Tide, and come on, man. You go ahead to the next caller, because I can't even come on the roof to fathom what I seen out there on the field tonight. Roll Tide. Y'all have a good evening.
Hey, thanks, Demetrius.
Look,
I know how you feel. I mean,
come on, man.
I was telling these guys about what life was like when I was in college, because I was saying, hey, at least we won. When I was in school, we would lose this game. We'd be heading back to the Strip right now to find the drink because we just lost. At least we won.
Yeah.
But it was not the kind of game that I expected. All right, who's this and where are you calling from? Hey, caller. Hey, who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Andy from Rockhaven, PA.
Oh, what's up?
Oh, nothing. Struggle win. I'll tell you that now. Struggle win. I didn't think we were going to win that game. I really didn't.
Yeah, it got dicey there. You know, Andy Reid one time had a great quote, not all of Mozart's paintings were masterpieces. So this is just one of those games. What was your biggest worry tonight?
Mine?
Yeah, what was yours?
Everything. Just everything was like the way we were playing and everything. I'm going to say this now. Next week we got a cupcake game, right? A nobody school. Next week, then the following week is the Iron Bowl. Something needs to quick.
Well, we got
we
got Arkansas before
if
that.
We win
back
the
here.
Iron Bowl. If we win the Iron Bowl, we play Georgia. I do not see us beating Georgia. I know I might have a lot of criticism from the other Roll Tide fans out there, but I do not see us beating Georgia. Georgia's more dominant than we are. We have a lot of struggles on offense. Fire, what's his name, Bill O'Brien, put me in as offense coordinator. Guarantee you we win games. Guarantee you.
Yeah, look, I'm not even worried about Georgia. I'm worried about Arkansas when they come to
How
town.
about New Mexico State next week first?
I'm not worried about New Mexico State. I mean, we could suit up and join those guys and still win that game. But the one after that, and then the one after that, the Auburn game.
Yeah.
Arkansas, Auburn, and then you win that. You play Georgia as you some
I was going to say, what's going on down here
ESPN
now?
executives rolling out or somebody right next to the stadium down
full
there.
escort. It might be the referees getting out of here tonight.
But it was a frustrating win.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to temper with the fact that Alabama won, but they've got to do a lot of things better, or this season's not going to end the way that they want it to. I think that's what you're saying, and I agree.
It's not going to end like we want it to.
Yeah. Well, and, I think regardless of who they're playing, we look at New Mexico State next week, as JG is saying, it is the fighting Kyle Henderson's coming into town. But, Bama still hasn't played the best game that Bama can play. We still don't know exactly what this team can get to. I mean, we've seen some really good moments, some really good quarters, halves, but we haven't seen that game yet. And tonight certainly was not that.
I just can't believe Michigan State went down.
Yeah, crazy day in college football.
I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, but you know what? If this one would have went the other way, think about that. I mean, it's like
think about how crazy that would have been. You had the top two teams. Georgia won, of course, won, but then you got the Alabama would have lost. That would have dropped off out of the playoff prediction even. Michigan State, while still going to drop, it's going to shake up the polls big time from Tuesday night.
Yep. Look, if LSU would have won the game, can you imagine Ed Orgeron? He would have ripped his shirt off Hulk Hogan style. He would have probably been flexing.
I hate that, man. And I don't care. I don't care how many LSU fans you have there. I hate LSU with a passion. I hate their head coach. I'm happy he's getting his ass fired next year. I'm happy.
He's
already. The way he disrespected us on our home field 2 years ago tonight makes me want to punch him in his mouth.
Well, he's out now, so
wow.
we will never see him again. This is the last road trip that he'll be. Maybe I would say maybe he'd be a commentator, but it's hard to understand him sometimes.
I was going to say I don't know if that's the route necessarily. Maybe he could be a scout or something.
Yeah, maybe he'll do that. Hey, call anything else before we go to the next caller?
Roll Tide, baby. Call you guys next week.
All right, talk to you next week after the game. All right, let's go right back to the phone lines again as we hang out with you here at Westgate Luxury Condominiums, the Skygate Club. That's where we're at right now, right across from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Trey Yanity, Chris Daughtry, and me, Mick Gillispie, and you guys calling in. Who's this and where are you calling from?
What's going on, Mick, Trey? This is Jared from Buffalo, man. How
All-American, one of our All-Americans.
How you doing tonight?
Break it down.
I'm trying to hang in there. I'm trying to hang in there. I'm numb. I'm not happy. I'm not sad. I'm just numb to it. And at this point, I think I just accept the fate that this is who Alabama is. And every single week we wait for Alabama to play their best game, and the clock is ticking. Every single week we keep saying they're going to play better, they're going to improve, they're going to get better, they're going to get better. And it seems like they get better in one particular area and they regress the next week. If it's not the offense that plays bad, The defense plays great. If the defense plays like crap, the offense plays great. If both our offense and defense plays great, our special teams plays like crap. Happens every single week, and I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing it, man. The play calling was absolutely atrocious today. We could not make any certain adjustments to LSU stacking the box with 8-9 guys in the box. We couldn't make any adjustments to that. We couldn't handle their speed. We could not handle their physicality on the outside. The fact that we had 13 yards rushing and we couldn't really control the line of scrimmage is a huge concern, because if we couldn't block Neil Farrell or Jaquelin Roy, how in the hell are we supposed to block Devontae White or Julian Davis? So I'm very, very concerned, or Jalen Carter or Trayvon Walker. So I'm very, very concerned with that we could not control the line of scrimmage. I understand Darren Delcourt was hurt, but Chris Owens had to really come in. I thought that, this is possibly, our center that is, for some reason, was playing at right tackle. Oh, he's back at his natural position. He's going to be playing a lot better. Played like garbage today. Got absolutely blown off every single play by Neil Farrell or Jaquelin Roy off the line of scrimmage. So I was disappointed with that. Cohen got his ass kicked today. The one bright spot on our offensive line, or I'll say two, is Damian George at right tackle. Very, very impressed with Damian George at right tackle. He played very, very hard. Evan Neal once again had a good game. But Emil Ekiyor, Darren Delcourt, Chris Owens, Javon Cohen got their asses handed to them off the line of scrimmage. I'll give our defense credit because we have criticized Pete Golding today. I thought Pete Golding called a pretty good game plan. I thought our defense played really, really well. Once again, though, the one weak point that I will point out to our defense, and I hand it to you guys real quick, is the secondary. Miscommunication once again in the backhand cost us on a lot of plays, and it could have hurt us a lot more if Max Johnson was able to kind of read the field and stay poised in the pocket. That's the one weak spot that we continue to have mishaps in every single week. But one of the sloppiest games I think I've seen for this team all year round. And at this point, when are we going to stop saying this team is going to improve when the clock is ticking? Next week we got Arkansas, so we'll see what happens then.
Hey, look, you brought it, man, and I'm not disagreeing with anything. I'm sick of the offensive line. I'm ready to see some of these other guys play, and I want to. Where's Latham? Where's Brockermeyer? Who George came in and did well today. Because you're right, they got whooped today, and it's going to just keep getting harder and harder.
Yeah, and I think even more so than, the players in game, it's about really the adjustments, like you mentioned there, caller. It's about the coordinators kind of looking at the scheme and readjusting things when players get injured or, when you have to move some things around. And, we'll see on the health of Jalen Armour-Davis moving forward. But this defense is going to have to change some things around. And overall, it was a really good night for the defense as a whole. You look at the first touchdown, there was just some blatant miscommunication that set that one up there. But other than that, the defense looked good. They're putting pressure on a good quarterback. And overall, I think Pete Golding had a good game. But, scheme-wise and adjustment-wise on offense, there was just, no sense of urgency, and there was no craftiness about this game at all. Craftiest play was a fit for LSU, and outside of that, this game, was just kind of a sleeper at times, and it was good to see John Mechie kind of get reworked into this offense a little bit, trying some new things out there, but like the caller said, LSU was just faster at times tonight on both sides, and Alabama, really couldn't convert in some big spots. They won the game. Everybody in the chat, everybody that's going to call in, everybody on Twitter and everything else, going to be upset and frustrated and calling out this person and that person, whatever else. Alabama won the game. Their playoff hopes are still alive. Have to look at the positives tonight. The players continue to have to find just some consistency and some more discipline. And, when it comes to the coaches, they have to find a way to run the football more and do the things that they can do well right now the best. But overall, you win the game. You don't feel great about it, but you do get a win tonight.
Anything else, Jarek?
I do want to kind of respond to that. It's like I do agree with you, Trey. I do agree with you a lot on those particular points. However, though, on some of the things that we do typically do well, we got our ass kicked. We got handed to us.
No doubt.
Again, the line of scrimmage they got blasted. Bill O'Brien could make any sort of adjustments at all whenever LSU had 8 or 9 guys in the box. Whether it was or flip it to the other side of the ball, one area that we've had trouble with, even with Jalen Armour-Davis, even when he was healthy, we still had issues with it, is pre-snap motion. We have been confused all year round when it comes to pre-snap motion in the back end of our secondary, whether it's Jordan Battle, whether it's Hellum, or whether it's Armour Davis or Malachi Moore. We have been confused all year round with pre-snap damn motion, and I am sick and tired of the same mistakes in the secondary every single game. Every game.
And that's coaching. That is the coaching side. And some of the stuff you mentioned there is the players needing to improve. But that's the coaching too. And that's when it gets so frustrating, because these are things that can be adjusted without a player having to make some crazy stride to get there. These are the little things. So
they talk about when there's like guys wide open.
And just guys getting the spots late. There's just a lot of miscommunication.
It's backyard football, and there's a dude just like standing there like he's been cherry picking for an hour, Exactly. It's like, okay, whose guy was that? We have those plays every single game now, where you turn around and there's a dude wide open, catches the ball and running down the field, and you're like, okay, how did this happen? Mm-hmm. That's coaching. That's definitely coaching. They got to improve there. Jarek, awesome call, man. Don't forget tomorrow night at 6:00, man.
Absolutely, man. You guys have a great day, man. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
All right, let's go right back to the phone lines again. We're going to get all you guys as you wait. So just hang in there, and we'll get to these calls as we hang out with you. Let's go to another one of our All-Americans, Sean from Huntsville. What's up, Sean?
What's up, guys? How you doing, man? How you doing?
What's up, Sean? Doing good, man. How are you doing?
Man, where do I start, man? First of all, let me say I'm so proud we got that win. It looked bleak for us for a minute. Listen, let me say this. Let me get right to it. I could not agree with Jared more. I couldn't agree with him more, man. I do not understand. What people need to understand is this LSU defense that we just played, and their front seven, they have probably the most inexperience of any team that we're going to see for the rest of the year. Now, they have talent. They're great, but they're probably as young and inexperienced due to injuries as any team that we will face. We had so much trouble with these guys. I don't understand why we don't have a lot. Bryce is just throwing deep digs, post corners, deep slants with no hot route. These guys are throwing blitzing us freely. It's like we have no hot route. They didn't make any adjustments. We just keep trying to chunk it. I don't understand that. I do not understand that. Deep posts, deep digs. And I'll tell you something else. Bryce is getting hit every play almost. This guy he's getting hit now in this part of the season more than I've seen. The interior of our offensive line, Devin George played okay for someone who hadn't started none the whole year. But our interior, the two guards in the center, we got it whipped. Straight up whipped, man. Straight up whipped. Yeah. The interior was awful. Awful. I'm telling you guys, awful. I will give a big shout out to Phil Matthews, who played his ass off, Will Anderson. And I'm going to tell you something, man. Jameson Williams is a dog. He is a dog. They roll coverage to that guy almost every play, especially when it's third and long, and they couldn't do nothing with him. I think he had maybe 10 catches, I think.
Yeah.
This guy is awesome, man. Jameson Williams is by far the best receiver on this team. And just like Jerry said, I've been preaching the same thing every time I call the show. We cannot – I don't know what it is with pre-snap motion and our back end, but those guys are absolutely lost. I don't understand what it is.
It's crazy.
I do not get it. We can't keep saying, well, next week we're going to do better. Well, next week we'll – man, this is week what? Week 9? This is
November 6th.
I think?
This is week 10. This is week
10. Wow, guys. Yeah. Listen, man. I don't know. I'm so bamboozled and baffled right now. Like, what in the world is going on with the offensive line? These guys whipped us straight up and down, and we never adjusted on offense. We never adjusted. B-Rob never really had a chance.
He did.
On our interior, there's nothing we could do, guys. Nothing. What do you guys think?
Well, Sean, as much as I hate to say this, man, I just don't know if there's going to be an answer for offensive line this season. We've been waiting. We've been, maybe some youth. Maybe this guy can sub in. We haven't seen those adjustments. And, for the guys like Chris Owens that had another opportunity to step in, via injury or whatever the case, we're not seeing any kind of leadership there. These guys step up or create any value for themselves. And, week 10 in the season on November the 6th now, only a few weeks away from a potential SEC title game, a few weeks away from the Iron Bowl. I don't know if we're going to see this improve at all. maybe Bryce Young will continue to just keep getting better and better. And, he can, be good enough in those situations. But it's been a joke. It really has at times this season. And, that's the one area that in certain areas on the team, we've at least seen the game or, improvement. But this is the one area we haven't seen it at all.
Man, I'll tell you this, Trey and Mick. Man, I get so frustrated sometimes watching our safety play. Yeah. It's like these guys, I don't understand how they still let the ball go over their head like that. So, I'm going to put out a PSA right now. Let's table the Georgia talk. All Bama fans.
Let's do it.
Right now.
Because we're not even there yet.
Let's put that to bed right now.
Yeah.
Let's work out Arkansas. Let's table any future games. So let's just worry about what we got to do next Saturday, because I promise we can't afford to look forward to anything but the game Saturday.
Yeah, right.
So listen, guys, as always, I appreciate you guys taking my call. Roll Tide to everybody. You guys do a great job, and I continue to support.
Hey, and don't forget tomorrow at 6 o'clock, Sean. Chew on this one a little bit and call back. All right, thanks, bro.
I will do it.
Love hearing from you.
All right, Roll Tide. Sean the man. But, so many great points there as always. And, last season, Mick, you talk about the Heisman race and Mac Jones and this and that. And he was going to thank his offensive line if he had won it because they gave him such great protection. Yeah. If Bryce Young wins the Heisman this year, he might thank his offensive line because they put him in so many terrible situations where he had to fight out and make a crazy play. This has been a really, really struggling season for the line. And on both sides of times, but really for the offense.
Bryce Young has been amazing when you really look at what he doesn't have. Since Jace McClellan got hurt, this is a different Alabama team.
It is.
That has taken so much of what this team was able to do with him, where you could just flip him the ball. He was kind of that safety valve. When you would blitz in, he'd just kind of sprint out, get him, and take off down the field. We don't have that guy anymore. Brian Robinson's not explosive. He's a possession back. He's going to run straight ahead. And the offensive line isn't very good. And, the receivers haven't really – separated themselves besides Williams and sometimes Mechie. It was good to see Bolden make a couple catches in this game, but he's absent. I don't know if Jaleel Billingsley's around anymore.
He's gone. It's like he's not even there. And, Mick, this offense just has no identity still. Yeah. I want your thoughts on that a little bit when we get to this next call here. But, in most seasons, last season, of course, there was such a great identity. We still don't really have a rhythm about this offense. Yeah. It's just kind of a bunch of different broken up pieces.
Thanks for hanging out with us on the Bama Insider post-game show after Alabama's 20-14 victory over LSU. We're taking your calls right now. We'll hear from Nick Saban shortly. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Robert from Mobile.
Hey, what's up, Robert?
Yeah, I hate to echo the sentiments of your previous callers, but it is what it is. And like them, I'm really kind of sick of hearing about the commentators on who's doing the Alabama game. Talk about confusion in the backfield, or the Alabamas be confused. That's something you get really sick of hearing. I never hear Georgia's secondary being confused, or even when I watch Texas A&M or Auburn. Didn't hear about their secondary being confused in that game. But Alabama's just trying to think of being confused. And here in our offensive line, you look at the last year's offensive line, even when that was a big loss, but they didn't just beat, went right on and won national championship, and everything worked fine. But this time we missed a guy, lose our center, and all of a sudden we can't get 50 get 20 yards rushing. If something's got to change, just what needs to happen. Tonight I saw a team that not only could not beat Georgia, I don't feel confident they'll beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl, which is really bad. Which we all hate to lose to Auburn, but they're just not there. And it's week 10 or thereabouts, and we're still not there. It's what it's going to take to get us there. It could be the best year that's just not there. It happens. Can't win a championship every year. And right now, this team is not a championship team. We don't know if it can become a championship team. It's not this year. It happens, but
Robert, let me ask you something real quick. You just brought something up that's been kind of in the back of my mind, and I want to throw this out. What if this team really isn't that good, and Nick Saban and these guys just have them believing that they are, and they're just who they are? You know, I mean, they're just a little bit better than the competition. Last year they were a lot better than the competition, but maybe we should be glad that they're 8-1 right now.
Yeah, and they're just so young. I mean, you know,
are they 8-1? They're 8-1,
they're 8-1,
right?
and we expect the world out of this team. These are kids. You know, this class was insane, but you know, they were in high school last year. A lot of these players, and you know, I would like to see maybe some more young guys worked in. But this is, as a whole, I have some better leadership. As a whole, this is a young team. They're figuring it out.
Now, what if that's the case?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason why, you know, the championship was the 20. The reason why it doesn't happen that often, because it's really, really hard. That's why it doesn't happen that often. You know, I still enjoy the season. You know, okay, we win, great. If we win championship, great. But if, you know, we have to accept the things as they are. And you know, not get too high, not get too low. We won a championship last year. Goodness gracious, right? Winning every year just unreal. You know, it's just something that just doesn't happen. But it would be great though if they would just correct some things and maybe improve something. Like with the confusion in the backfield. That starts to seem like coaching there, because I'm not hearing about confusion in the backfield on other defenses. Even defense, forget Georgia. I didn't hear about it in the Texas A&M game or the Auburn game. So can we at least be that good? Can we at least improve that much where they're not looking to the sideline when the ball's about to be hiked? Now that's kind of something that's hard to take. Getting beat on a play, not so hard to take. Getting beat on a play because you're not even looking at the receiver, that's hard to take. But they actually played pretty well today. They did their job. The offense didn't show up, but the defense did. So, but it was just been quite frustrating to watch today with the offense performance. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll get better tomorrow. Next week.
Well, Robert.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, Robert, we got Nick Saban coming up here in just a second when we get off the phone. But don't forget, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, we'll have a chance to kind of reflect a little bit, and always love hearing from you down in L.A. Great call from Robert. All right, let's go ahead and pull. I guess when Nick Saban's ready, guys, we'll throw Nick Saban up.
It was a great win for our team.
Right,
we were in a lot of tough competitive situations, and guys responded well, made plays when they need to make them, especially on defense. And, you know, I think there's a lot of things in the game that we probably didn't do well. We didn't block them up front very well. We didn't run the ball very well on offense. We couldn't run it at the end of the game when we needed to. We weren't as effective on third down. We had some protection issues. So a lot of things that we can fix, but I think we got to fix them so we can be a little bit more consistent. I think defensively, you know, guys came up with a lot of big plays, got stops when they needed to get stops. And, I know that sometimes, we have an expectation that we're going to win easy, but sometimes it's not so easy. I think it's difficult to win in this conference. I think it's difficult to win week in and week out. I think you got to play your best. We probably didn't play our best in some areas of the team. And we got to get more consistency in how we play. So, I'm really proud of our players actually for how they competed in the game. There was no way that, we were going to let them score at the end. And I think the defensive players really stepped up, and that was great competitive character. Anyway, it's always good to beat LSU. I knew this was going to be a tough game. I knew they would play their best game of the year against us, and they deserve a lot of credit. They had a good plan. They changed some things up, and their guys really competed well and played hard in the game. So, but I can't tell you how proud I am of the way our guys competed in the game to be able to win.
Start with Mike Rodak right here, Coach.
How
at, not only in this game, but also in for the season as a whole to this point?
Well, I think it's probably in different parts of the team. It has been very good at times, and in other parts of the team, not so good at times. And it's different parts of the team that, like we gave up 3 plays against Tennessee for 167 yards in the secondary on, mental errors and misexecution. We scored a lot of points in that game. Tonight, we didn't block very well up front. We didn't get done what we needed to get done to be able to have consistency on offense. But if you look at it, through the course of the season, our offense has been really productive, moved the ball well, and scored a lot of points. So I don't think it's something that you can just say the gap is like this for the whole team. It's like this because of inconsistencies. And we need to fix those consistencies if we're going to be the kind of team that we want to be. But the focus is going to be on trying to get our players to play better, be positive with them and how we teach them so that they can get better. And their attitude needs to be really good so that they can be accountable and challenge each other to be accountable. And I think that'll be the best method that we can to try to improve in the future. Fight. That's what I was talking about. The competitive character they showed, the way they played, the stops they got, the 4th and 8, where we thought we had a turnover, we didn't get a turnover. We had to go back out on the field. And then, at the end of the game, when they got the ball back with a minute to go to, play things the way we needed to play them so they couldn't, get a score. We had 2 bad snaps today, one on field goal, one on extra point. I mean, there's lots of places on the team where, we weren't quite up to snuff. But defensively, the way they competed in the game, the way they played in the game, I think was really, really good. The one drive where they converted 2 4th downs, where they got to 14 points, that was probably not our best, but the rest of the game I thought was really pretty good.
We'll go to Aaron Suttles on Zoom.
From your vantage point, how disruptive was Will Anderson and Dallas Turner tonight?
Those guys did a great job. I mean, we affected the quarterback. That's always something that you want to be able to do in a game. We had a couple batted balls. We had 3.5, 4 sacks. I don't know how many for sure. We got some pressures, especially in the end of the game when we needed it. I think those guys did an outstanding job, but we had pretty good coverage for the most part. We had a couple long yardage situations, 2nd and 15, 2nd and long another time, and we gave up a big play on 2nd down, which got them back to manageable 3rd down, which, those are areas where you got to get off the field. But all in all, can't complain. We won, and we stopped them when we needed to.
We'll go to Nick Kelly.
There were a couple guys who left the game with some injuries, like Delcourt and Jalen Elmore Davis. Do you have an update on their status at all?
I hadn't talked to Doc yet, but I know Delcourt just had sprained his ankle. I don't know how serious it is or how bad it is. Jalen Elmore Davis got hit in the ribs. X-rays are negative. So, hopefully he'll recover quickly. But other than that, not a lot to report.
We'll go one more on Zoom here with Michael Casagrande.
Yeah. Excuse me. When you see you had 6 rushing yards on 26 attempts tonight, what goes to your mind?
Well, first of all, we lost about 20 yards on the last drive. So we might have had a few more than that. But I've already spoken to the point that we weren't able to run the ball. We didn't block them effectively up front. Whether it's the strategic plan or the execution of the plan, and most of the time it is the execution, but we're responsible for that too. So We need to do a better job of being able to block up front. I did think Damian George did a pretty good job in the game when he had to play right tackle and we moved Chris to center when Dalcourt went out. So that was a real positive. It was a positive to get him to play. He's making good progress, and I thought he played pretty well in the game.
We got time for two more. One in the room here.
Hi, Coach. Ashley Woods with the CW. Can you talk about the crowd tonight and just the energy that they gave the players?
Well, I think in the second half it was really good, and I think it was inspiring for the defensive players, especially. But if you really want to get the crowd gets in the game when you do well on offense, and there was times, especially in the second half, I don't know, we had 4 or 5 3-and-outs, which, you know, even when you make a few first downs and you don't score, you change field position. And I think when you're in close games, field position is really critical. So the crowd did a great job, though. I mean, the Tennessee game, the crowd had an impact on the game. I think the crowd had an impact on the game tonight, especially our players. And it's a great atmosphere and environment to play in.
Okay. We'll finish up with Charlie Potter on Zoom.
Yeah, hey, Coach. It looked like Kool-Aid McKinstry got to start at corner in place of Josh Jobe. Do you have a reasoning behind that? Was Josh banged up or something at the beginning of the game?
No, Josh had a turf toe, and that flared up on him, and he wasn't able to practice. So he could have played in the game, all right? But at the same time, we weren't going to play him in the game unless we had to play him in the game. And he was ready to play in the game, but because he hadn't practiced a lot, and, you know, the fear of making his toe worse, we would sort of see if we could get it done without him. And then when Jalen went down, we thought he was the best option to put in the game, and he wanted to play and he was ready to play, and I thought played pretty well.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time.
All right, thank you.
All right, there you go, Nick Saban and his post-game press conference there, talking about Alabama's 20 to 14 win over. I gotta get Nick Saban off the screen. Look at him; he's scaring me there. Over LSU today.
Yeah.
All right, look, Coach is always positive after one of these kind of games, and he has to be, because he's got to keep the guys positive, because there's still everything ahead of them to play for.
Oh, exactly. You don't want to overreact. That's the biggest thing in either direction. That was my biggest thing after that Texas A&M game. It was a loss, but hey, the season's not over yet. You can't act like this team every time they play poorly. Well, all of a sudden, they have no chance of winning the national title. The dynasty's over. These players won't want to come here. It was a bad game tonight. Mm-hmm. For Nick Saban, he knows that his team is better than that, and he's got to get them there. Getting mad at the press conference, acting, calling out everything that went wrong, and just being negative isn't going to get his team anywhere. It's just about keeping that mindset and keeping these guys together. Tonight they weren't together by any means, and talking about the crowd there, the crowd was with them. It was good to see this home environment kind of go crazy again, but the team really as a whole wasn't connected, and I think whatever they have to do to address that's one of the main problems, along with all the adjustment and in-game stuff as well, but we're just not seeing this team click as a whole like we've seen in years past.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, let's take a couple more calls as we hang out with you here at Westgate Luxury Condominiums at the Skygate on the roof right outside of Bryant-Denny. And I know you've been hanging on for a while. Who's this and where are you calling from?
DeMarco Poole, you already know where I'm coming from.
Hey, DeMarco.
I'm from the A, but I'm in my college right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in my college
What's
right
up?
now. Ice Trey, what's up, baby?
How you doing, man? I'm doing good.
I'm good. Ice Trey with the smooth delivery. Man, listen, this game, man, I'm in school for engineering and political science, so I'm trained to look at things a little bit differently than the next person, right? So part of my assessment of the game is the simple truth of the matter is, yes, we won the game, right? But the thing that people need to understand and be cognizant of is that there are a lot of underlying factors that play into what you see in a full 60-minute game. And the reality of the situation is we at times can look at ourselves and say, you know what? I didn't do the best I could have did at work today, right? I'm a student in college. I didn't do the best I could have did on my test today, right? Doesn't matter that I had a week to prepare or 2 weeks to prepare. I didn't do the best that I could have did. So we look at these kids and we look at these game plans that are put into effect with this kind of like black and white, kind of regard. And that's just not factual. Now, on the football side of things, I have said several times, Bill O'Brien needs to understand why we use salad dressing on a salad. It's not to mask the flavor of what's in the salad, but it's to accentuate the flavors that are present. So he needs to understand why Sark was great at what Sark did. Sark knew how to genuinely confuse 18 and 19-year-old kids. He knew how to genuinely get the best matchups on those kids. And it wasn't a matter of we were supremely talented. He knew how to abuse what those kids got confused by. And that's the issue that I see with Bill O'Brien. I don't think it's a question of whether he can call plays. Nick Saban brought him in. He knows more football than all of us. But I think the problem that I see with Bill is that he needs to find a way to be a little bit more creative with his pre-snap. Too many times a night, I saw us trying to attack deeper concepts that take a little bit long to develop, but you can't really do that when the box is so crowded. So I think that's one of the things that I would say about Bill. But also, let's be realistic. Once your center has to go out of the game and your right tackle goes to center and you bring in a true freshman, that changes everything because those guys didn't get those reps. That unit didn't get the reps together. So the communication and what everybody's expecting and what everybody saw all week didn't happen. So our fans act as though, yes, we have talent, but let's be realistic. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't lead them right, these are still kids. If you don't lead them right, they will never amount to what they could be. And that's the thing, that I think a lot of people don't realize. Just like when we played Florida a couple weeks ago, people say Florida almost beat us. Did you know that Florida ran a 5-1 defense that they had never ran all season, that we didn't practice for, and we beat them because we made adjustments? And so that's the thing that people need to understand. Don't just look at a game. Understand the game of football and what you're watching. You need to be able to go deeper than the context. And that's the problem that I have with our fans. I don't like that we don't do enough of a job of understanding what it is we need to fix and what it is we need to look at. But I agree. We've got a lot of things to work on. We won the game. B-Rob, to me, is okay. I think he's more of a battering ram. I think I kind of like what we get in our more speedier backs who do have the size. I don't like that sometimes when B-Rob doesn't press the hole, he kind of just goes straight ahead and runs right into the back of our offensive lineman. Yeah. And I don't like that he doesn't really give us the X factor like Najee, right? Like Najee gave us the X factor, right? You saw him with the hurdles and you saw him press, right? You could go out and catch the ball, right? So I kind of saw those things. And, at right tackle, when we did get the guy to come in for us tonight, he was okay. He got beat a lot on the blitz, but that's communication, right? So how much of that is the center is there? And, and obviously he wouldn't do that if the center was there. But how much of that is just poor communication? So we've got a lot to do. The defense is much improved. I've been saying since all the way last year, Dick, you remember this. I've been saying that Pete Golding is the guy. I've not had a problem with Pete Golding. We had some struggles on defense. We had a bust in the first half. The first drive they had, I think we had a bust. Nobody saw that. We had a bust, and it was for a touchdown, but Max Johnson got pressured, so he couldn't throw it. And then we had another semi-bust where number 11 caught the touchdown. So that was just a matter of Toa not communicating. But I don't know. What do you guys think, man? I kind of heard you all venting a little bit, but what do you have to say about that?
Well, I think that's a great call.
Yeah, that's music to my ears there, DeMarco. Appreciate you calling in. And, like you said, man, this team, we want to look at it from a very basic standpoint, but, there's so few fans and even journalists like us that sometimes want to go into the true context and all the details. And it's very complex. This is a really complex game. And like you said, with kids that are this age trying to meet the standards that this program is set, it gets really difficult. And, with a complex situation and, with the kids you have here, you're going to see failure sometimes. And I think people have a really hard time understanding that, dealing with that. And my favorite point you made there is about Pete Golding, because, you watch Pete Golding, you maybe watch the points that other teams score, the plays that Alabama gives up on defense, but, hear Pete Golding talk sometime. Listen to this guy's interview, or watch him coach. Mm-hmm. He is such a great football mind. Such a great football mind. Maybe he hasn't made the adjustments he's needed to or schemed correctly at times, but overall, Pete Golding is the guy that needs to be in place right now. If he wasn't, he wouldn't still be here. It's not like this is year one. We've seen it, and he's stuck around for a reason. So good stuff, DeMarco. Thanks for calling in, my boy. I think we're going to maybe move it on here, but tomorrow night, join us again. And as always, dude, we appreciate you coming on.
Roll Tide, DeMarco.
Oh, yeah. All right, brother.
See you, guys.
Great
See
call.
DeMarco.
DeMarco working on that All-American call status.
I was going to say, this is
bringing it today.
Another one of ours. We got to get a bracket going. We're getting a bracket going for the YouTube avatars on our prediction show, but I think we need a caller bracket as well. Just great stuff all the way around. And so many great comments tonight, too. Guys, keep getting in here. Let us know what you think. This is one of those games where, you want it, but you don't really feel great about it. And, obviously a lot of different narratives come about this game. What do you think is the biggest problem right now? Maybe we've heard about the offensive line, some of the secondary, the coaches, this, that, whatever. What needs to be fixed first?
Let's do this as we wind things down. Let's talk about some good stuff, and then we'll talk about some bad stuff, and then
Fair enough.
and kind of just the whole synopsis of what we've seen. First off, Nick Saban has established this ability to win. This culture of winning that wasn't here before he arrived. I remember watching Alabama against LSU with the coaches before that in a game like this, and they didn't make the plays that it took to win. They got close, but they didn't get over the hump.
Yeah.
Like today, Alabama could have lost, but
Easily.
They just find a way to win. They find a way to win games, and I got to give them a lot of credit for that. And I think so much of that is just the culture that Nick Saban's created, and a lot of great players. The offensive line to me is still the biggest issue, and with an injury today, a unit that I thought was inconsistent, sometimes good, sometimes not so good, got just way, way, way worse. And then that's going to be something that, like DeMarco said, he was right. I mean, they hadn't practiced together, and it looked like that. And maybe there's some other freshmen that can step in and start to fill some of these roles. I don't know.
Well, there is, and I don't think we're going to see him. And we got to appreciate our super chat here, Devin DiPiazza. He's asking that question. Are we going to see a freshman offensive line? And thanks for the super chat again. We appreciate all of you guys' super chat, likes, comments. This is the kind of stuff that helps us keep going. Can't thank you enough for getting in there and
beer money, guys.
Exactly.
From you, it's beer money.
It's the Saturday night money, but
you can tell I'm freezing. I got my blanket up here,
flared up. We walked up. He was all bundled up.
I couldn't believe how cold it was.
Trying to stay warm. We're trying to stay warm up here too. But I don't think we see that offensive line, the freshman offensive line, the next week as much as I would love to. I think J.C. Latham was one of the most, if not the most talented players in that class, and one of the greatest classes ever. Mm-hmm. And we still haven't seen him. And, at times I don't know why.
Let's go.
The move tonight, Damian George to right tackle, I thought was fair. And, Chris Owens at center obviously probably isn't the answer, but something needs to change. And I think this is your opportunity to give the freshman his chance at offensive line. And if you don't, like I said earlier, I just don't see this group getting any better.
The other good things, I think Bryce Young has kept Alabama as one of the best teams in the country. He finds a way to win. Absolutely no running game today. He was under pressure the entire contest. He makes enough plays to win. I mean, at least he did today. Could he orchestrate a game-winning drive had Alabama fallen behind? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering what would have happened had, LSU scored and took a 1-point lead. But he's great. And Will Anderson is just amazing. I mean, he's coming back next year too, which is even scarier than what we're watching right now. There was a couple of times in this game where he just took over.
Oh my God. And, this is a hot take. This is my early hot take, but we saw the conversation 2 years ago with Chase Young. I think Will Anderson could be in the Heisman conversation for next season. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's just that good. We're seeing him get better and better every game. You just look at the speed. You can't teach that. You can't teach that explosiveness that you see him, not even just up the middle, coming around the edge, all over the field. This guy is truly dominant. Great tackler. We were talking about it before the show started. Got to be a top 5, maybe the number 1 overall pick when it's his turn to get drafted.
All right, then the last thought is the drops and the blown coverages. Got to stop. I mean, it's just got to stop. Like somewhere along the way, it's like first play of the game, here's a pass, and it's dropped. There's just too many drops right now. Guys got to make the catches. I think that would help out a lot. And then, the broken coverages in the secondary. I mean, my goodness, there's just too many of those too. And we're not scoring enough right now to overcome some of this stuff if we get into a game where the opposition scores a bunch of points. So, look, this is a great week to play New Mexico State. Look, I know they're fighting Kyle Henderson's. And they're going to come to town, and they're going to be used as a punching bag for this team and, a speed bag. Alabama's just going to take them like this, work on some stuff, and then train for the stretch run, which is Arkansas and then Auburn.
Yeah, and potentially Georgia, but like you said, this is the final stretch. We're getting into it. It's cold outside now. We're in the element, and Alabama's gonna have to get in their element. I think that New Mexico State, like you said, is a great week to turn it up, tune some things up. But we saw this week, you can't sleep on any team. They have to get better in practice. Obviously, I think that's where the consistency comes, and we haven't seen consistency this season. We haven't seen a lot of discipline at times. Those are the two things. And, we talked about leadership earlier in the season. I think that's there now, all the way around on both sides of the football. You have your leadership. Let those guys lead. Bryce Young, Will Anderson, lead their respective groups. Hopefully the coaches can find a way to scheme this team a little bit better, make that adjustment at offensive line, and Alabama can continue to roll. Hey, make their 8-1. They got to win tonight. A lot of negativity, but they are 8-1, and they're going to keep this thing going.
Talking about keeping this thing going, let me keep this thing going right here and tell you all about Westgate Luxury Condominiums, 200 feet, literally 200 feet. And you can see it right behind me here next to Bryant-Denny Stadium, right? 200 feet from Bryant-Denny Stadium. That's where we're at for the post-game show, and it is awesome. And there are some units that are still available right now at Westgate Luxury Condominiums. If you're in the market, 1 to 5 bedroom units, 900 to 3,000 plus square feet. You got the huge spacious balconies that overlook campus. You have the kitchens. You got right where we're at right now, the Skygate Club for game days. I actually snuck up here today with the intention of just doing a little tailgating here, right? And that's what I did. I went through. I had the gumbo and the shrimp.
Oh man, I was going to ask when they have the buffet today. We missed out on it.
You guys missed it. I was there for it. Hung out, kind of interacted and talked to some of the folks here for a little bit. It was an awesome experience. And when you buy a condo here, that comes with it. So it's just absolutely beautiful. And maybe you just want it for a rental property, or maybe you want it for game days, or maybe you want to move here. You need to check it out right now. It really is awesome. And right next to the stadium, the strip, the quad, campus, Tuscaloosa, it's awesome. What a great time. I know I said awesome a few times, but and then everyone here is so nice too, man.
Oh my goodness.
Very, very,
It's
very
insane.
hospitable. All right, final thoughts, man. Final thoughts on this one.
This game tonight was a scary game at times, but Alabama learned more about themselves as they do every week. Obviously, some adjustments have to be made, and, you can get all upset about this game, frustrated, call this guy out, that guy out, this coach, whatever. But Alabama knows what they need to do to fix this. They have the best coach in college football in charge. Came out tonight, made some interesting comments, but I think overall you saw him continue with this no-noise brand that Alabama keeps with them at all times. That's what they need for a young team. They learned those things tonight. Got to see Dallas Turner. Got to see this defensive line, Will Anderson, flex the muscle at times. And we saw the offensive line really struggle. Overall, Bryce Young had a good game. Alabama wins it. They are 8-1. And, we'll move on to play New Mexico State next week. But another win. Maybe not good, but another win for Alabama.
I'll tell you this, guys, I can be bought, and that's exactly what Brandon Clear has done, and he's bought another question with a super chat, and I appreciate it. So, look, if super chats are going to pop up, maybe we'll just hang a little longer. When are we going to see the younger wide receivers get an opportunity? Slade is not doing it for us. Look, I don't know, but I'm wondering how you got all that wide receiver talent just sitting over there on the sideline. I'm not at practice, so I don't know the ins and outs of the whole thing, but I can tell you this right now. I would love to see us develop some of those guys, or Alabama develop some of those guys moving forward.
I would too, but I'm with you. I don't think we're going to see it much the rest of this season. I think they picked JoJo early on in the year to kind of work him into that special teams route to the receiver. But, this team really trust in Slade Bolden, really trust in the guys that have in place, the John Mechie, the Jameson Williamses of this team, and they're just going to continue to rock with them. I would love to see a Jai Hall get his chance. There's a lot of drama there. I'd love to see him, if nothing else, get his chance to kind of just calm him down a little bit and help him, realize he's part of the fold. But overall, it's been interesting to kind of see the misuse or non-use of him at least, and I don't think we're going to see him used anymore.
Johnny P, roll tide, man. Roll tide. RTR, right back at you. Thanks for the super chat. I was walking into the stadium today. Actually, I was walking into Westgate, and here comes Andrew Bone the other way.
Oh, no way.
And Miss Bone. And but no baby bones. It was
I was going to say, yeah.
And they will have the Up With You on Monday night this
Tuesday
week.
night.
Well, we got the recruiting show. Yeah, so you're flipping over to Monday, I think, right? So I'm guessing that you guys will be on Monday at 6 o'clock doing the recruiting.
We may be an hour earlier on Tuesday still, so we got to get the schedule worked out here. But early in the week, we're going to cover recruiting. We got a lot to cover. A big weekend. I don't know if you saw so many different guys in town, for this game. So excited to get into that stuff on Tuesday. You guys got Monday Night Quarterback in the playoff show, though, coming up this week.
Yeah, definitely the playoff show on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. So that'll be a lot of fun when we, Kyle Henderson and us, we get together and watch those things happen. Look, D-Fin. Super chat. Keep us here, man. Love it. Don't want to hear about 4- and 5-star recruits. We need 5-star OC. Look, you got was it on the chat I saw earlier today? You guys were trying to figure out which one you wanted fired more, Pete Golding or Bill O'Brien. Look, I think Bill O'Brien's going to end up with a head coaching job at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Being the offensive coordinator in the SEC is tough. Football has changed here. You got to be able to move the ball. You got to be able to get guys isolated and make plays. And it's been a little pedestrian at times. And today was honestly, I think, one of the worst game plans that I've seen Alabama have. I mean, is that fair?
Yeah, it really comes down to the players too here. The offensive line was just completely inept. So there were times this game where you definitely blame Bill O'Brien, and just the overall scheme in general wasn't very good. I think you saw Nick Saban kind of reflect that in his post game there. But the offensive line let this team down. I think we would have seen it maybe designed a little bit differently if they hadn't had to deal with the early injury in this game. I think we would have seen maybe more runs, more designed runs. But overall, it was not a very well schemed game. It was a boring game for Alabama offensively, and with a young team with a lot of different weapons, it never needs to be boring.
All right. Well, guys, anyway, make sure you hang out with us right here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, or check out BamaInsider.com for all the latest news, notes, nuggets, all of that stuff as well. We got shows on the channel, including tomorrow night at 6 o'clock when we do our call-in show, and we want you guys to call in. Some of you guys didn't get a chance to talk tonight, but look, that call-in show is going to be fantastic. You'll have a little bit more time to vent your frustrations about what a coordinator you want to see out, or maybe who your favorite receiver is that you want to see in. So for Chris Daughtry, Kyle Henderson, Trey Yanity, I'm Mick Gillispie, our entire crew here. We really appreciate you guys more than you know. Thanks for watching. Final score, Alabama beats LSU 20-14.